Going, everybody? This is Kevin Kring with College Golf Local, and I am thrilled to bring our first guest of this new series, Unique Path. Hally Leadbetter is an amazing friend of mine. She is a wonderful, wonderful follow on all platforms of social media. And Hally, I just appreciate your friendship over the years. You were my first friend whenever I moved to Florida, like 8 years ago. You know that?
Oh my God, it's crazy, Kevin. Well, first of all, thanks so much for having me. Happy to be here. And yeah, I know it's crazy when you asked me to do this. I was like, man, I've known Kevin for quite a while. We met through somebody that you met through college golf, and you guys played together. And I was very good friends growing up with through junior golf. So it's really funny how like golf brings us all together like that, which is really cool. So yeah, we've known each other for a while.
Yeah, and it brings us together, but I think it kind of keeps us together as well, just because, like I said, you create so much amazing content for Golf Digest that I don't just follow it, but I share it because I'm like, this is actually funny. I mean, I tell my friends, like, there are probably two people worth following on like all the social media platforms. Like, most people stink at it. You actually have it figured out. So,
Thank
um,
you. I'm trying to get better.
well, you're good at it. So, anyways, I brought you on because I just wanted to talk a little bit about your path with college golf in particular, kind of what it looked like for you getting to college, your story within college, which I know is kind of what is unique, and maybe any advice you would either give to a younger version of yourself or another kid looking to play in college, that sort of thing. So, just tell
Yeah.
me about kind of how you got started, competitive golf, and kind of that. Let the story start there.
Yeah, absolutely. So I started, I guess you could say, like, obviously, like, I come from a golfing family, but I didn't really get super into golf until I was about 12 or 13, which is like, if you're wanting to play, the whole college recruiting process starts so early now that, like, sometimes you feel kind of pressured that you need to be shooting like certain scores at a certain age. So, 13, 14 was probably when I was like, you know what, I really do. I want to play well enough to be able to earn a college scholarship. So I started practicing really, really hard. Ended up, my junior, senior year, getting to the point where college coaches were noticing me, maybe not so much for my like low scores that I was shooting, but just because of the improvement that I had made in such a short period of time. So I had always dreamed of going to Duke University. I had sent the coach a letter when I was like 13. I went on a visit there, and I went there with my parents, and he offered me a spot on the team. And it was I think it was like a full ride for the first year, and then, like, regardless of how much I played, or how well I played, it was going to be like walk on for the rest of my time, because like he had already promised money to kids that were even younger than me. And I think I was like a junior at the time. So I was like, you know what? Like, obviously, that's incredible to be offered a spot at Duke. Like, that was one of my goals. But one of my other goals that I had was, I mean, I wanted to get a full ride. Like, I'd worked so hard over the last few years to be able to earn a college golf scholarship. So, like, being realistic at the time, my game was not to the point where I deserved a full ride to Duke University. Like,
Yeah,
they won like multiple national championships, and it's okay. That just like wasn't where my game was at. So I visited a few other schools, one of them being Arkansas, which was probably like top 25 at the time. And the coaches there were absolutely incredible. And I just really felt like they really wanted me there, in terms like they felt like I could really help their program, and they were really excited to have me and watch me get better, and sort of help elevate their program. And that's not to say that like Duke didn't necessarily want me there, but I couldn't really like add anything to their program because they would have had so many players so much better than me on the team. So ended up deciding to go to Arkansas, got a full ride there. Facilities were amazing. I really felt like the coaches were going to help me get better, because at the time I wanted to play on the LPGA tour when I graduated. So I was like, okay, if I go to Arkansas, like, I'm going to, the facilities are incredible. The coaches are incredible. I'm definitely going to get better. So decided to go to Arkansas. And I know, Kevin, we talked about like my college path is definitely a little bouncy and not traditional, because I went to Arkansas and then I was there for 2 years and ended up transferring. And it's funny because I feel like it's not like I made the wrong decision by going to Arkansas. At the time, going to Arkansas was 100% the right decision for me. it just so happened that 2 years later that I had sort of like a change of heart in terms of like what I wanted to do and with my career path and what I was really sort of passionate about. And so it was definitely at the right thing to do at the time was to go to Arkansas. But then when I was there for 2 years, I was like, you know what? I wasn't playing like super great golf at the time. I was practicing really, really hard. I played my first year pretty consistently. And then the second year, I didn't really make the lineup very much. And I wasn't really that happy there just because I put so much focus on my golf. I didn't have too many like other extracurriculars or like other like big friend groups. It was just so golf focused. So
Right.
for me, I was like, you know what? I feel like I play my best golf when I'm really balanced. That's not saying like I don't work hard. Like I still work really hard, but I need to have some other stuff going on in my life. So Rollins, which is in Orlando, Florida, which is actually where I grew up, was the number one D2 school. I believe it currently is right now as well. So incredible program. They've won 13 national championships. They're very, very solid. And a big part of me going there was that a majority of their schedule was D1. So I wasn't necessarily worried about like going there. And if I still wanted to turn pro, that was still going to be an option for me. But I just wanted to go and have like a little bit more of like a balanced, at least for me, more like, okay, I'm going to focus on my academics a little bit more. I'm going to see, maybe explore like the media side of things. So I ended up deciding to transfer to Rollins. And because I had redshirted my second year at Arkansas, I had 3 years of eligibility. Ended up going to Rollins. So I went from like a school that was like, 20,000 undergrad to 1,800 undergrad.
Yeah.
And, it was a really, really difficult decision because again, I loved my time at Arkansas and I don't regret it for a moment. I made some amazing friends there. And I mean, their program is incredible. You look at Stacey Lewis and Gabby Lopez and Maria Fossey. And, there's so many incredible players that have come out of their women's program and their men's program as well. You got David Lingmerth and Sebastian Kaplan, Austin Cook. So incredible program, both men and women's. It's just like, I had to ultimately do what felt right for me. And what was right for me was to go to more of a smaller school like Rollins, where I was, like number one, number two player on the team. I played all the time and I had some other things that, also kept me busy off the golf course. And then even then I ended up still kind of turning pro and playing for a little bit. It was just a little bit better a fit for me for the second part of my college career.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's an amazing story to kind of hear you lay it out like that. I'm kind of curious a little bit just about whenever you were back in high school, you talked about how, you know, it's like you weren't necessarily the best player, but it's like they projected you really high because of how quickly you were improving. Were you like playing other sports at the time or anything like that? Like what kind of led you to, because it sounded like maybe you were a little behind the curve at a younger age and then you
Definitely.
got a lot better really quickly. What kind of
Yeah,
led
I
into that?
was very much behind the curve. I was really into horseback riding. So growing up, I have a younger brother and an older brother that are both incredibly talented golfers. But I always wanted to be like my cousins on my dad's side who live in England, and they were competitive horseback riders. So golf growing up to me, that was like, oh, that's what my brothers do. Until I was about 12, 13, 14 was like, oh, everybody at the dinner table is talking about golf. Like maybe I kind of wouldn't be included in this conversation. So that's kind of when I started practicing a lot more. And, it's funny because I feel like when you're practicing, after school every single day and playing these tournaments and shooting 100 and whatever, you're like, man, this is hard, like how am I ever going to get better? And it's so interesting. I remember a couple years ago, I went back. I used to play in a lot of like Florida Junior Tour events and FCWT events, which I know are still around. And it's funny because you can go back and look at your scores from like each year. And it's really funny because you'll see my scores. My scores will be like between like 100 and 115. And then every year it would drop down like 10 strokes to the point where I was like shooting in the 70s my senior year. So it was
Yeah.
like 100s, 90s, 80s, 70s, which was really funny because I didn't realize until like I took a step back. I was like, oh my God, I've gotten a lot better, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean, I've talked to some kids and like it's like whenever they're like putting their resume together, they're like afraid to put a score that's like a 98 when they were a freshman. I'm like, no, because like you're 20 strokes better now than you were 2 years ago. Like that sort of projectability is what coaches want to see. And I'm sure part of that's what led to these sort of opportunities for you to play. I mean, you played at a big Division I school and you played when you were a freshman. Like that's not easy to do.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I would say that that at least showing how much I had improved in my like ability to improve and willingness to work really hard. That probably plus my academics, because something that was always sort of drilled into me when I would work with somebody that was trying to help me get recruited. It was that like if you're shooting the same scores as someone, your college coach is going to choose the person that has like the better grades because they don't want to have to worry about you when you come to their school. So
Mm-hmm.
you want to show that you kind of have your stuff together and that you're proactive and that you're able to balance some those kind of things in high school, because when you get to college, it's only going to be more challenging because you're going to be traveling and you're going to have a bigger workload. So definitely keeping your academics and keeping your grades up is really important as well in high school.
Yeah, absolutely. Whenever you did end up transferring from Arkansas to Rollins, was it like, I'm going to leave Arkansas, now I'm just kind of like going to figure out where I want to go? Or was it like your heart was set on Rollins and it was a really easy transition?
Um, so I had a few different places. I kind of knew this kind of school that I wanted to go to. I wasn't 100% sure that it was Rollins, because also I had to be released by my coach before I could talk to other schools. Um, I was really lucky because one of my best friends from junior golf was on the Rollins golf team at the time. And she's an incredible player. And I was like staying at her house for like a junior qualifier or something. And I think I called her up and I was like, hey, do you know anything? Like, do you guys have a spot on your team? And, she was kind of surprised, but then she kind of went to her coach and just sort of like snooped around and tried to see if there was anything around there for me. But it was definitely, I didn't 100% know that I wanted to go to Rollins right away, but I kind of had like an idea. And then once my Arkansas coach released me, I was very quickly able to like reach out and see what else was available.
That's awesome. Well, I know it worked out pretty well for you. Do you want to was there a highlight or a peak moment for you whenever you were at Rollins?
Yeah, I definitely would say it was my senior year. Winning the national championship was so cool, especially because I think we had come in second my junior year, and that was something that I was so grateful to Coach Julie Garner at Rollins for allowing me to come to Rollins, and for her giving me a scholarship, and so grateful to my teammate Annie Dolman for sort of vouching for me, because Coach Julie knew about me, but we had never really met in person. So Annie saying like, I promise you, like she's she's a nice girl and she works hard in school. So it was just really cool to be able to like, I guess repay that in a way, because I know it had been a few years since we had won a national championship. So to win like the 13th one, and to be there with Annie and myself, which was our senior year, was just the most incredible feeling.
Yeah, I figured. I mean, it was out in Colorado too, the national championship,
It
wasn't it?
was at
Yeah,
Common Grounds in Denver. Yeah.
that's right. I was following along, and I was so pumped for you whenever I saw that it worked out, just because I knew kind of the way your path throughout college worked, and I was just so happy for anybody who goes out on top. I'm just always so pumped for them, especially when they're a friend of mine. So
It
that
was
was
so much
pretty
fun.
neat.
It was great. Yeah.
Is there anything you would maybe, I don't know, if you could talk to 13-year-old Hally, or just if there was a kid who asked you about, hey, I want to play in college, what are some of the secrets to getting there? Is there anything you would tell them?
I would say, one, I would just like reiterate what I said before about like working hard, but don't ignore the fact that your grades are really important. And that's a really big thing that college coaches look at. So work hard, grades, and then also just go to a school that don't just go to a school because it has like a name or it's a D1 program or it is, like you're going there because you want to play college golf. You're not going there because you want a cool like golf bag and a polo shirt. Like go
Hmm.
there because you want the experience of college golf, because it is the most amazing experience, especially because golf is such a generally an individual sport. So you don't, golf is going to be, you go to college, you graduate, and then you're probably going to play, golf with your buddies or play in the occasional member guests and this, that, and the other. But the experience of college golf is so unique. So the more that you can play and get on the golf course is the better, really.
Yeah, I tell everybody my favorite moments from college. It wasn't, a qualifier here or there or a workout. It was team van, team dinner, on the airplane, like all those things where you're actually traveling because you're an individual for all but 4 years, and college golf is the one time you're a part of a team, and like it's just that it's like a family. It's the one time you get to experience that, and it's just the best, and it's why I want everybody to have the proper opportunity to experience it.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely.
Well, Hallie, I appreciate you taking some time to come on and just kind of share your story. Is there anything I can that you want to share, just to plug, or what you've been up to or anything like that, just before I let you go?
Yeah, well, I haven't been doing too much here, Kevin. I'm just, quarantining right now with the family in Florida, but like you touched on earlier, I work at Golf Digest now, so I did turn pro for a very short time, but I would say that, my college golf experiences and, my junior golf experience led me to have like a lot of, golf knowledge, and I was able to get this great job to work at Golf Digest now. So we are just, doing our best to sort of give our followers and fans, as much golf content as we can without actually having any live golf. So
Yeah.
just working hard on that.
Well, I've tuned into some of your evening shows. Is your Instagram just Hally Leadbetter? Is that right? If somebody wants to
It's
follow
just
you.
Hally Led.
Oh, Hally Led.
Short
That's
and
right. Keep
sweet.
it simple.
Yeah,
Awesome. Well, hey, give my best to your whole family. Stay safe, and hopefully we're able to see you out on the course soon.
definitely. Thanks so much, Kevin. I appreciate it.
All right, Hallie, be well.
Okay, bye.